Hello guys, my name is Troy, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be reviewing the Throne of Glass series. No, my air conditioning turned on, I can't film. Okay, I'm back, it turned off. Today I'm on the floor because I feel like it. And I know y'all probably don't care, but today I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was on my first Zoom call by 7:30. Anyways, today we're gonna do my Throne of Glass review. I finished the books finally after a month. I was starting off strong. I was reading like one book every other day, and then it just flatlined, and then it took me like a whole half of a month to read the last two books, but it's okay. Basically in this video we're gonna go over all the books. It will be non-spoiler. I'll probably have a little bit of a spoiler section at the end. I don't really like talking about spoilers all that much on my channel. Definitely let you guys know when I plan to switch over to spoilers, but this is a perfect guide to the series and just everything. I plan to wrap up all my thoughts on the series because I finished it. Oh, I almost forgot to mention in the video, but announcements, I'm going to be live streaming this Saturday, and I'm super excited because I stole this little webcam that we used for our group channel, and now y'all will not have to watch me in 720p. It's going to be from 4:15 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will put the other times on the screen, of course, and if you have any questions about that, let me know. The chat will open 30 minutes before. I'll have all the expectations and all like the things you need to know up on screen, and I really hope you can join. We have usually around 30 to 40 people there. It's always a fun time, so I will see you guys on Saturday with the stream, and I'll update you guys. I'll remind you guys like before. There's literally a whole leaf on my bookshelf. What the heck? It's raining leaves, and why is there so many leaves? Okay. So let's go off the summary first. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas is the series of epic proportions. We're set with this girl named Celaena, who we first find out she is a slave in the salt mines of Endovir. She is chipping away at the rocks every single day. She's barely surviving, and one day the crown prince of Adarlan and his royal, like the captain of his royal guard, come to the salt mines of Endovir and give her an option to fight for her freedom at the glass castle of Rithfold in Adarlan. She of course accepts because any chance at freedom is a chance at freedom for her, so she goes to the glass castle and gets filled in on the details of the competition. There are 23 other thieves, soldiers, and other criminals there to compete with her to become the king's champion, which will eliminate all of his potential targets. So the competition starts, but soon as it goes on and people get eliminated, there are these murders and this magic that's kind of coming back, and Celaena kind of gets wrapped up in this mystery of this magical kind of powers, especially because the magic in Adarlan was banished like a few years earlier, and it's kind of creeping back into the world with these kind of symbols and these like languages called the word marks and these awful demon creatures, and they're kind of creeping back into the world. So Celaena must defeat these monsters and this person who's wielding this magic and win the competition. So that's kind of the premise of the first book. I know so many of you guys have asked this question, so I want to take some time to go over it, but how do you read the series? There is a prequel and there's a parallel book, and it kind of makes for an interesting read. First, I want you to start with Throne of Glass, which is book 1 in the series, then Crown of Midnight, then Heir of Fire, which is book 3 in the series, then The Assassin's Blade, which is the prequel, then Queen of Shadows, which is book 4 in the series, then Empire of Storms, which is the 5th book in the series, then Tower of Dawn, which is the parallel to the 5th book in the series, and then Kingdom of Ash, which is the final book in the series. So the reason why I would say read the prequel after reading the first 3 books is because honestly, something really tremendous about this series is that when you're reading these first 3 books, you don't really know a lot about Celaena and her past, and you kind of start to undiscover and kind of get that mystery like before you read the prequel. And of course the prequel was published after these first 3 books, so of course it makes more sense to read these 2. It's just like to have a better sense of mystery and confusion and just have an overall better experience reading. I definitely recommend reading these first 3 first, because then you can delve into Celaena's past and like know exactly exactly what happened in her past, not fully what happened in her past, but just a lot of like the 2 years leading up to the incident that got her in the salt mines of Endovir. It just really makes for a better experience. And then also some of the events that happened in the prequel kind of seep back into books 4, books 5, and book 6. So it kind of, there's nothing that really has happened in the Assassin's Blade that impacts the first 3, but it does impact the second 3. So that's why it's just right after that natural break, it just makes sense. And then of course, briefly, this is a parallel novel to the 5th book. I recommend you read it after the 5th book, and it's really, really important. It's not like a silly-nilly novella that Sarah J. Maas kind of did once. This is a very important book. It says it's a parallel, but it's very, very important. It has some very crucial information that you're gonna need for the last book. And then of course, you read this one last. Okay, so now that we have gone over the reading order, which I know a lot of you guys were wondering about, so I hope that clears everything up, I'm going to go over the books in that particular order, each one in a non-spoiler way. I want to kind of give you the points. Was it my favorite? Alright, so the first book that we need to talk about is Throne of Glass. I already told you guys about what it is. Something that I really just like about this book that kind of just sprouted in my mind right now is like seeing how Celaena was like a fish out of water in the castle, because Celaena is an assassin, like a kick-butt kind of like bad person, and it was just kind of cool to like see how she got used to like the politics and the courtliness of the whole grandness of the castle. It was just really interesting. The romance aspect was the worst out of all the other romances, because the romances in the next few books get so strong. Like just the more that Sarah J. Maas writes romances, the stronger it gets and the more passionate it gets, and like the more like real and just raw and emotional it gets. I think that the 10 years that Sarah J. Maas, I think it was 5 or 10 years that Sarah J. Maas worked on this, it really shows. It shows how much work. Like it's one of like the most quick, concise, and you can tell it's like very like cut and, you know, precise. Like there's no like fat, no information, like there's no too long drawn out scenes. Like it was very particular and fine, and I just really like that about this first book. Like it's a really great way to kind of dive in without having too much information or info dumps. It's just a perfect mix of everything. I also always like these kind of competition games. It's kind of like Hunger Games. Yeah, it says fans of Game of Thrones and Hunger Games. It did feel like both of those, even though I've never watched Game of Thrones or read it, but it does feel a lot like Hunger Games, because slowly the number of competitors kind of ticks down, and that really appealed to me. And I just love the magic of this all too. It's just like creatures and demons, and like interesting way that kind of magic is coming back because magic was expelled, and so we kind of see some more secrets and riddles with magic that I really enjoyed. All right, next up in the series is Crown of Midnight, and Celaena is in this deathly charade with secrets and lies and betrayals, and we see her emotional roller coaster spike throughout the series. It is insane to watch. It's just like there is some insane plot twists just from the beginning. Like the way Sarah J. Maas writes, she'll even like do this in the beginning. She wrote a scene and it was totally not true at all. Like she'll make you believe something, and then she'll give you the hidden details, or she'll be like, that's what you expected, but that's not what actually happened. And it's crazy to me. It's just so crazy. It's really when I started to respect Sarah J. Maas for the awesome author she is, because she has so many crazy sneaky plot devices that really just catch my attention. The magic, just keeping on like exploring kind of like the rise of magic in the series, it was really interesting, and kind of seeing some of the past and some of the ways to take down the current king of Adarlan in his like really bad, horrible, evil ways. It's just really interesting, and just more of the secrets, lies, romance, of just there's so many plots, points, and stuff that I just really enjoy. And I just love, again, the cozy feel of the castle, the glass castle. Yeah. Next up, we have got Heir of Fire, which is the 3rd book in this series. This book was honestly incredible. It was a little bit slow at times. It was like not the most entertaining book for me, but it had a different vibe to it, especially at the end of book 2 when a huge plot twist is revealed about Celaena's identity. And in this book she kind of struggles to figure out her identity, and by the end she has known her true identity. She goes by a different name by the end, and we kind of get to know more about her past. Like this really is a transformative book of self-character, self-recognition, hamartia, like all that stuff. It was really amazing. In this book, Celaena kind of travels to a new continent and has to deal with the magic inside of her, and we just learn so many secrets about her past, and we get a new kind of romantical connection in this book that I really enjoyed following. Celaena has these like really hidden twists, and like she has these ideas and strategies, and she plans like 3 steps ahead of everyone, not just Sarah J. Maas. Like we talk about Celaena herself, and it's just so interesting to explore, and I just love this book. Now let's finally talk about the Assassin's Blade, which is, again, it takes place at 2 years, or the 2 years, before she gets kidnapped, or like, not kidnapped, but like captured for her crimes and taken to the salt mines in Endovier. We kind of get set with her assassinly ways, like she's an assassin working for the Assassin's Guild in Adarlan, and she has to go across different ways of the continent. Like, that's something that I really enjoy. Like, she journeys all across the world in this book to different places, learns different things, and ultimately gets betrayed and gets sent to the salt mines from the Dovier. So it's interesting. Leading up, we kind of get this sense of false hope almost. Like, she has a romance, she has these all great things coming towards her, she's like just doing so great, something happens, betrays her, and basically that goes into the series. And so that's why I really like kind of going with this book after book 3, because it just makes more sense to me, so that you don't know really what happened, what betrayed her, and you kind of just get those elements after you kind of have the mystery about it, because it's not really fun having it just told to you instead of like trying to figure out yourself. I don't know, it's just really cool, and I think this book was such a great way to explore Celaena's past. Next up, we have got Queen of Shadows, which was my least favorite in the series. I guess like it wasn't bad, and this, like, what I say about this book is that it has some of my favorite moments in the series. It's just a little bit dull because it deals a lot with the rebel moments, or like the rebel movements. Like, Celaena is working with some of the rebels against Adarlan, and there's just some dull moments with like plans and strategies, but really like there was so many strong moments in this book, and get to explore more of the witches, which is a new perspective that gets added in at Heir of Fire with the character Manon, and we kind of get set with Elide Locken, and there's just so much more new perspectives, and we get to explore Celaena's romance with someone met in book 3. Again, it's just a little bit more dull. That's like my basic thoughts about it, but there were really great plot twists. I just think wasn't the favorite. Next up, we've got Empire of Storms, which might just be my favorite because this really weaves in most of the prequel. Like I was talking about how the prequel starts to kind of seep into the later books. This book is filled to the brim with the effects that Celaena had in the prequel, and kind of stuff starts coming back at her from that, and that's really, really great. This also has another journey, kind of like I was talking about. Like, she goes all the way across the map, like I think several months, honestly, of journeying and traveling. Like, she goes all the way to the north, all the way to the south, all the way to the west. She almost makes like a triangle. Like, she just goes all over the world, and she fights demons. She kind of, again, explores her romance, and she learns more about her own power and her magic and her identity, and it's just so amazing. The ending, though, literally broke me, and so that's having to wait for another year with this ending was crazy, but like I said, it was just perfect. One of my favorites of the series, honestly. Love it. Love to see it. Alrighty, now we have got Tower of Dawn by Sarah J. Maas. This is the kind of side to the other book that I was talking about, Empire of Storms. It's like the parallel. Again, it's very, very, very important that you read this. You cannot skip out on this, or else you'll be super confused in the next book. This book explores kind of Kayal, who is a character that we first meet in the first book, to find answers on how to defeat the movements going on in the northern continent. That's all I'm going to say. It's just very interesting. And something that I kind of think about this book is that it's underrated. A lot of people rated it lower. They say it's more drawn out, it's more like dull. And yes, that's the intended purpose of this book. It has a lot more rich culture of this new world, and that's something that I really loved. I just loved reminiscing and kind of exploring that deep kind of culture, and just like all the crazy stuff that was going on in the southern continent, and there's like this mystery underneath, and I just felt like the book needed to have a slow kind of start to seep in, to have that kind of like seeping feeling of this mystery and darkness into the world. I thought it was just immaculate, spectacular. I loved this book. Like, honestly, might be one of my favorites, and just the things we learn, the romances and the dual perspectives, it was incredible. I enjoyed it so much. The last book in the series is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas, and this was another incredible, stunning sequel. It kind of tops up all the books, because basically what ended up happening was all the other books were about like 400 to 700 pages. This one was almost 1,000, literally 14 or something pages from being 1,000. She could have really made this into 2 books, because basically it was so fast, there was so much action, there wasn't any, it was like the fastest book by far, but I'm not complaining. Like, I think it's a good thing. I thought it was a good choice that she made, so you know what I mean? It's complicated, but something about this book just screams like perfection, because the way that it's paced and the way that it has a freaking amazing poster on the inside, and it has this, and it just has a epic conclusion that literally had me crying. Honestly think that I did not expect the ending. Like, that's something that I'll say. It's like the ending was so crazy and it's not expected, and there's this one key detail at the end that just snapped me, because I was like, it mentioned one detail, and I was like, I don't know, it's just crazy to me. I'm so stoked about this series. I wish it could go longer, but honestly, the way she ended it made me so thankful that she ended it, because it was just an incredible book. It was incredible. It was incredible. Just all the characters had these great resolutions. Loved it. So I quickly want to take like about a minute to close my thoughts about this series. One thing I just want to say is that it was one of the most beautiful, like breathtaking series that I've ever read. And like I said, this is like my third time reading the whole series. I probably haven't said that. I don't know, I should have said that this was a reread, but I don't know. I just love making reviews about like my most amazing series, and that's why I did this video and did this review. Like, I have never made a whole series review about a series I did not like. So I really wanted to highlight my second favorite series ever. It holds a special place in my heart. From all the plot devices Sarah J. Maas uses, the mystery, the creeping and the rising of magic, as well as Celaena's identity. She goes by like 4 names in the whole series, and I love how she struggles to find herself, as a lot of people do. I think the characters were so great, the land was so great, just the world building, the information, it all just really makes me emotional, because it's such a grand series and I'm so sad that it's over. Now, I don't like talking about spoilers, so I'm only going to give myself about 1 minute to talk about spoilers. So basically, I'm going to give you guys the time stamp, like right up here. You can see it on screen. Skip to that part of the video if you do not want to see spoilers. I'm probably not even going to be spoiling too much, because I just don't like spoiling people. But with that being said, I'm going to start now. So basically, a few things that I want to mention is, like I said, Celaena's identity. Celaena / Aelin / Liliana, and I don't remember what, Elentia. So she went by all those names, and I think it was so freaking amazing to kind of see her rise of all these different identities to kind of come to her true identity, which was Aelin. Gallianthius, I thought the plot twist of her being Aelin, a lost princess of Terrasen, was so freaking incredible. She's kind of just an ordinary girl, but we find out that she's a princess. Like, it kind of made for like the opposite of the prophecy, like the you're a wizard Harry Potter. It's the opposite of that, because she started off as like this ordinary girl for books, and then she kind of hid that from her. She hid that she was a princess. She hid that past from her. It was so interesting. And then also quickly, I loved the exploration of the Valg demons and the Stygian spiders and the Kanaraki. There's like so much interesting things within the evils of the world, and Marath and Parrington and the king, and just the parasitical, the like demon. I just thought that was so interesting. Even though it's a little bit dark and morbid, I thought it was so interesting to explore. So yeah, and can we just talk about the ending? So that wraps up my review. I just had a fantastic time. I was considering debating doing this review. I was like, is it gonna do well? But then I was like, I need kind of a conclusion video. I need to make a review, because I just think it'll be fun for me to discuss. Thank you so much for watching, and I totally recommend. The series is all like 5 stars. Maybe one book is like 4.5 stars, but that doesn't matter. I just really recommend you guys go pick it up, and I'll have a link in the description probably that says Throne of Glass series. You can go on Goodreads and check it out and see if you want it or not. I will say that maturity ratings I'd recommend for 13 and up. Make sure to leave a like down below. It really helps to support my channel. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. That really helps to support me. And make sure to comment down below, what are your thoughts? Are you interested in Throne of Glass after hearing my review? Have you read Throne of Glass? Put your ratings and stuff in the description. I would love to just have enormous conversations about this book. Like, I'll leave the last video up there, but if you guys made it to the end of the video, just know that I really appreciate you, and that I really appreciate you supporting my channel. So I'm on the floor, got a lot of homework to do, but somehow we're gonna manage. Bye everyone, love you guys so much. You're watching Troy channel. What the heck? I don't know. I'm so stressed. And there's just a lot of good kind of like, what's it called, content in this book. Oh, I don't even know what I'm saying there. Rebel moments, or like the rebel movement.